Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a major storyline that has exploded across the MMA world involving Jorge Masvidal, Ian Machado Garry, and former welterweight champion Kamaru Usman. Masvidal has unloaded on Garry for calling Usman a has-been, and the reaction has been intense. We will break down exactly what was said, why it matters, how the welterweight title picture is shaping up, and what this means for Islam Makhachev's next opponent in 2026. We also have two other big stories on deck. Joaquin Buckley sending a $50,000 challenge to Khamzat Chimaev, and Darren Till blasting the Misfits Mania main event featuring Andrew Tate and Chase Demore. There's a lot to unpack today. Masvidal defends Usman and fires back at Garry Ian Machado. Garry has been pushing hard for a UFC title shot at welterweight. The Irish contender recently took aim at Kamaru Usman, saying the former champion was a has-been who did not deserve the next title opportunity. Garry argued that Usman's 3 straight losses before defeating Joaquin Buckley should remove him from the list of top contenders. He also suggested that new rising names like Michael Morales, Shavkat Rakhmonov, and Carlos Prates are more deserving. Those comments did not sit well with Jorge Masvidal. Even though Usman defeated Masvidal twice, including a brutal knockout in their rematch, Masvidal still stepped in to defend him. Masvidal went on Death Row MMA and delivered a direct message to Garry. He said, "I never thought I'd actually be here advocating for Usman or anything, but here I am. Him calling Usman a has-been is so crazy because you've never even been, brother. You're nothing. You might be a contender right now and stuff. You beat Belal Muhammad, but you had to eye poke him twice to do that. It wasn't like you stopped him." Masvidal continued by saying nobody is talking about Garry deserving a title shot, except Garry and his wife. He even predicted that Usman, approaching 40 years old, would still beat Garry today. Masvidal said, "I still see Usman beating the crap out of Ian Garry. Ian Garry is not the best welterweight out there, but he was born with some gifts. He's massive. He's like a light heavyweight at welterweight. He's already been rocked by Shavkat. Shavkat is the most deserving at 170 in my opinion." Garry has put together a strong UFC run, winning 10 out of 11 fights. The only loss came against Rakhmonov in a short notice bout. He has bounced back with decision wins over Carlos Prates and former champion Belal Muhammad. Still, Masvidal has not been impressed. He added, "For Garry to say Usman is irrelevant, like, man, what have you done? He's just got to talk more than anything. He's got a boring style overall, he's got good speed, and he keeps the fight standing until he's sweating another striking, and then he goes for takedowns. But overall, his style is not exciting, and that's why nobody's talking about him." Masvidal argued that Garry is trying to tear Usman down because he is worried Usman may get the title shot ahead of him. This brings up the big question. What is next for the welterweight division? What about Makhachev versus Usman? Islam Makhachev is expected to defend his welterweight title in 2026, but the UFC has not confirmed an opponent. Makhachev himself has said Usman could be the toughest matchup stylistically. However, not everyone agrees. Belal Muhammad argues that Usman should not get the fight because he turned down other opportunities. There is also the undeniable factor that Usman has not been unstoppable in recent years. What makes this conversation even more interesting is the fact that some fighters, like Joaquin Buckley, have first-hand experience. Buckley lost to Usman earlier this year at UFC Atlanta, and even he believes Makhachev is pushing himself to the limit by targeting Usman. That kind of endorsement carries weight, because when opponents speak highly of someone who just beat them, it says something. So if the UFC books Makhachev versus Usman, Masvidal will not be the only one defending that decision. Buckley calls out Khamzat Chimaev. Now let's shift to story number 2, because this one is wild. Buckley has issued a $50,000 challenge to Khamzat Chimaev. Buckley took issue with a training video where Chimaev was working on striking. Buckley said Chimaev always shows striking online, but shoots for takedowns immediately once the fight starts. Buckley posted a video and said, "All that striking you doing right there just to shoot in the first 5 seconds of the fight is crazy work. So Khamzat, this is what I'm going to do for you. If you're able to stay on your feet for 1 round, just on your feet, and not use your wrestling, I'll give you $50,000. He even translated the offer into rubles and pointed out how significant that money would be. Then he challenged Nassourdine Imavov to match it, turning the purse into $100,000. This is not the first time Buckley has called out Chimaev. The two have gone back and forth for years, but the fight never happened. Buckley has been fighting at welterweight recently, building a 6-fight win streak before losing to Usman. Chimaev is currently focused on defending his middleweight title, but this challenge adds fuel to the fire, and fans are wondering if Chimaev responds, declines, or ignores it entirely. Darren Till destroys Misfits Mania main event. Our final story. Darren Till had harsh words for the Misfits Mania main event between Andrew Tate and Chase D'Amour. Till said he could not sit through the fight and had to leave early. Till said the fight disrespected everything he believes in as a lifelong martial artist, and he felt like he was unlearning techniques while watching it. Till said, "I've given my life, 20 years to this sport. I had to leave because it disrespects everything I believe in and everything I've trained for. What am I watching? I'm actually unlearning as I'm watching." Till had hoped to fight Tate under the Misfits banner, especially with influencer boxing popularity at an all-time high. But after Tate's performance, Till says the idea is dead. Popularity at an all-time high, but after Tate's performance, Till says the idea is dead. Till is now 2-0 in Misfits boxing, with stoppage wins over Anthony Taylor and former UFC champion Luke Rockhold. He continues to push forward in the influencer boxing space, and his stock is rising even as some major names are falling.